my experience as a school trustee was often had to do with um, looking at learning resources. The teachers were always complaining, we need more resources, we need more resources. And the school boards were responsible for getting them for them. Now, back in those days, before the internet, we had a special building where learning resources were kept. And due to budgetary restraints, we got rid of it. And then the internet came along, and all of a sudden, in the union contract, teachers could use any resource they darn well felt like. And they were starting to bring some really questionable stuff into the classrooms. But still, we had a general idea of what was going on with learning resources. On August the 27th of 2017, I was planning to go to a church service in Langley where they were going to commemorate the beheading of John the Baptist. And my fellow colleague, Heather Moss, said, Barry, have you heard about this new sex ed program they've got, sogi 123? I said, no, what's that? She said, I don't know either, but there's a parent information night at Brookswood Secondary in Langley. And I said, oh, well, I'm going to Langley. Anyways, what time is the meeting? Well, she said it was at 7:30. I thought, well, I can make both places. And so I'm sitting there listening to how poor John the Baptist got his head chopped off for criticizing the sexual behavior of the ruling classes, all these dreary hymns and scripture readings. And I got a text message from Heather. She said, Barry, the BCTF discovered about our parent information night and has declared it's a hate group, and they've locked the doors. We can't get into Brookswood Secondary. I said, oh, well, where are they going? She says, we're going to Murrayville Hall. I said, Murrayville Hall, I'm right beside it. So I went over there and I was absolutely floored. I had been a trustee for 25 years, and this fiery little Pentecostal preacher, Laurelyn Tyler Thompson, was telling us all about sogi 123. I thought, she's got to be kidding. And not only that, it had already been in place for a year as a pilot project. And the Ministry of Education had contacted all the superintendents across the province and said, we're bringing in this new sogi 123 as a pilot project in grade 11 and 12, but please don't make any public announcements and don't tell your trustees because it might cause some controversy. I couldn't believe it. I went home, and all throughout September, I did my own research. I thought about it, and I thought, I can't endorse this. I can't be part of a public education system that's pushing these on children. And they were going to be implementing it from K to 12. So finally, I finally spoke up on October 23rd and said that people who transition a child are guilty of child abuse. Well, the media went nuts. That's how I became aware of it. And they've tried everything they can to try and silence me. Glenn Hansman called me names. I tried to sue him for defamation, and even the Supreme Court of Canada said it's okay to call people like Barry Neufeld names, regardless of how much he's worked with children. So it still hasn't silenced me. I've been out in the protests, and interestingly enough, although I spoke up in 2017, there was an election in 2018. I was reelected despite my notoriety, but the community is changing. Critical theory has been present in our universities now for about 20 years. And these ideas are finally filtering into the K to 12 education system. And young parents think that this is all trendy and this is all woke. The movie stars have an amazing number of transgender children because it's a trendy thing to do. I had never heard of a child questioning their gender when I worked for the government. I retired from the Ministry of Children and Families in 2008. I'd never heard of transitioning, but all of a sudden it started to catch on. Well, what happened in 2008? The iPhone came out. As I said, most of my clients were foster children, and very, very few foster children had access to any computers. If the foster parent had a computer, they wouldn't allow the foster children to go near it. But once the iPhone came out and kids could connect to the internet with a little gadget in their pocket, that's when the idea really started gaining traction, and kids started looking at all these kinky websites and absorbing all this amazing proliferation of pornography that 11-year-old kids are watching it and thinking it's all perfectly normal. Well, they make excuses for that. They say, well, they might as well learn about it in school because they're going to see it on their tablets and their iPhones anyway. A lot of children who transition come from very troubled homes. Um, at least three of us here, we've gone through divorce. We know how devastating it is on kids, and they don't know where to turn to with their mom or their dad. And sometimes they reach out to less than wholesome mentors, and they think mom and dad didn't have it right, so maybe somebody else has got the answer. We really need to build up strong families for this to not happen.